Hi guys, Maikeru here. This is a podcast style video where I sat down with Ravlar to talk to and kind of interview two JMods, Mod Erator and Mod Shogun. We asked them loads of different questions and just speak to them about Runescape, about Jagex, about their jobs, etc. And it was just a really fun chat. So hopefully you guys enjoy and let's get right into it. So I'm here with Mr. Mod Erator, which is probably my favourite mod name out of all of them, and Mod Shogun alongside our co-host Mr. Ravlar.
Welcome to JMod Double Dates, where we wine and dine our finest JMods, but because of quarantine, we can't physically be there with them right now, and it's too expensive for us to do anyway, so we're just always going to do it on the computer, but it's fine. Today we have Moderator and Mod Shogun. Can you perhaps introduce yourself very shortly?
And like what you do at Jagex and such.
Go on, Shogun. You can take this one first.
Oh, okay. So I'm obviously Shogun, if you didn't gather already. I've been at Jagex for six years now? Yeah, 6 years. I started off as a QA and now I'm a content developer. Formerly on the Ninja team. No longer.
Where are you moving?
I'm currently in Limbo.
Oh, okay. So you're just helping out all different teams?
I'm helping out a specific team, but you'll find out more information later on.
Oh, excited. Okay.
Indeed. I am quite involved in balancing of the game, so if it's a boss or slayer mob, I'm most likely involved in that. I played the game for 17 years, 16 years, something like that. So play for a fair bit.
True veteran. So yeah, I'm Moderator. I've been at Jagex for 4 years now, just over 4 years. I once thought that Moderator would be a funny mod name, and 4 years down the line, it's an interesting one to still have to say. So I've been at Jagex for just over 4 years. Currently on the Ninja team, been on various teams throughout my time here. Senior content developer. So yeah, we sort of deal with designing and implementing and releasing and then maintaining content throughout the game. And yeah, with Ninja specifically at the moment, so dealing with like quality of life and a lot of the strikes that you've been seeing over the past. We started in February, so the past sort of 9 months. And yeah, I've played the game. I started, I think, in 07, maybe 06, on and off. So was pretty hardcore for the first few years, and then uni and stuff. I couldn't spend the time playing it, and sort of picked it up again when sort of applying to Jagex, and then been sort of on and off again for the last few years. So.
Interesting. So what was like your uni background, and like how did you get to apply to Jagex?
So at uni, I studied computer games programming, so a very specialized version of software engineering. It was basically I had to toss up between, do I want to do software engineering at uni or do I want to do computer games programming? And ultimately I thought that games programming would be more fun. Turns out that that's probably true. And yeah, so that was my route through uni, which obviously helped a lot getting a job within the games industry when they see that it is specifically that you have been taught sort of like game specific subjects throughout your time at uni. And then yeah, so I applied to Jagex towards the end of my last year and got the job off of that. It was a graduate scheme that I came in through, so there was 3 graduates, myself, Mod Campfire and Mod Chaplain. We did the whole year, and then yeah, got offer off the back of that to stay a little bit longer.
Oh, that's very cool.
They've not got rid of me yet.
I firstly want to say thank you very much for the work you do as the Ninja team. I know Shogun is moving from it, but he was a big part of the recent Ninja strikes and stuff. Some of them are really good, and like you are listening to people's feedback, which is the biggest thing that people want. So like a lot of the things that come in are things that people have wanted to be fixed or changed or made better. So it's definitely a huge part, because I'm happy getting, maybe one update a month or whatever, because we also have the Ninja Strikes alongside those updates and stuff, so it keeps you tied over or whatever.
Yeah, and I would say now Shogun will 100% be back in Ninja. This was his 3rd stint in Ninja already, so I fully expect he'll be back at some point.
Yeah, I think it's the 3rd one, yeah. I joined when I first was QA. So when I first joined QA in RuneScape, I was in Ninja, and then when I first turned developer, I joined Ninja again, and then I was moved over to work on daily challenges and like the first game experience. and then I was back to Ninja again.
You just throw it around everywhere. What the hell?
Oh yeah. I'm thrown everywhere, literally. The longest thing I've spent on the game is manusmithing. That was quite a long project.
Yeah, that's fair. So I guess a little tiny bit more info on your RuneScape experience. So, like, what are your like XPs or your achievements in RuneScape in general? Because I know you both play on your personal accounts a decent amount, and you're probably the two, or maybe like 4 different people that I know that are JMods that are the most interactive when it comes to like Twitch and content of like content creators. Because I definitely speak to Shogun a ton in chat. He pops in. Sometimes, for some reason, Shogun always pops in when I'm doing clues. Although I do clues a lot, so that's fair.
Shogun tries to kill me, kills me.
Yeah.
He is known for doing this.
And then Erator done a ton when it came to like Anachronia and stuff. I remember talking in depth with him about that. So like, what? I've gone off a tangent, but yes, like, tell us a little tiny bit more about like your RuneScape accounts, like your personal ones.
So yeah, I've been comped since I started at Jagex. Well, I'm no longer comped since I took a slight little break after I got 99 archaeology. Me and Erator and we had a bit of a race, so to say, when archaeology got released. It spurred us both on to get 99, and then we managed to get 99 at the same time together with Modvati.
With Mod Ryan as well, yeah.
Have 3 billion XP at the moment, I think it is. So I've been playing fairly a lot.
That's safe to say a decent amount has been put into that account, yep.
Yes, a decent amount. I'm definitely above 700 days played.
I got nothing on Shogun XP wise. I'm at like 1.4 bill, maybe 1.3.
It's still in the high percentile of low percentile players. So.
It's not bad. I used to be like that. This is before I went to uni. I was that like super sweaty efficiency scaper, which is very difficult to do that now when you're working a full-time job and you've got responsibilities and stuff. It's very difficult to put that time in to do it. So I can't. Yeah, not quite the sweaty efficiency scaper anymore. But I still appreciate it as a way of playing the game. But yeah, we had a great little race to sort of 99, the 3 of us, and in the end we got it all decided to get it at the same time. And then myself and Mod Ryan continued to 120 and 200 mil. I don't think that Shogun, have you got 120 yet?
I'm 101 at the moment. I've done some
101.
Yeah, it's slowed down a bit.
when it comes to working at Jagex, has it like ever made it harder to play the game as a player? I feel like if I worked at the company, I feel like I wouldn't want to play the game as much because you're working on the game all day, and then in your free time, you're probably going to want to chill somewhere else. Or is that not the case?
But surely you feel like that with streaming as well, right? Because I feel like that when I've streamed, like I don't want to play Runescape.
Yeah, exactly. Like after streams and stuff, I don't always. I'll like AFK the stuff that I need to AFK while doing something else. So yeah, it's similar for us, Rav, for sure.
Yeah, no. When you're surrounded by it all day, and then you get some time in the evening to yourself and partner or whatever it is, it can be difficult to get into the mindset of okay, I want to go play some more. But also, what I find more difficult as well, especially being on the Ninja team, when you're improving things that are already in the live game. I found this most with like one with Shattered Worlds and also with Grand Exchange. Like when you then go in live and you're developing it all day, and you've seen all these cool changes that you made and how much better it is, and then you go and play it in live, you're like, oh my god, this Grand Exchange system sucks, it's so bad. And that can also be quite difficult because you know that round the corner all of these improvements are coming, but you just can't play with them yet.
Yeah.
Which is, it's kind of an interesting one. It can make it difficult when you're surrounded by the game all day to then also want to go and play it in the evening. I try to as much as I can. Also just for like keeping up with the game, right? Keeping up with what current events are and whatnot as well. One for because I'm in the Ninja team and it's useful to know what the current issues are and stuff like that, so that we can talk about them as a team. But also just to know what's sort of relevant within the game at the moment.
Are you similar to that, Shogun?
Sometimes, like I'm like the normal Runescape player. You don't really quit the game. You just take extended breaks. So I'll play hardcore for a bit and then I'll disappear for a bit and I'll return again. So I don't really, you don't really stop. So to say.
That makes sense. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, archaeology definitely got us.
Oh yeah, definitely. musical races does it always, or things to hunt for does it as well. Like I want my com cape, and then I'm happy. Like larger achievements will always bring me back, and the longer they are, the better they are.
I think that goes with a lot of players, right?
Oh, precisely. But yeah, I still play regularly. I go in and talk to people, chat with my clan and stuff like that.
Mm.
So I still keep up to date, even though I might not be skilling. I like sitting in the lobby, just sitting there doing nothing. So it's like upgraded version of bank standing.
Yeah, fair. I think community is a big part of RuneScape, so I can completely understand that for sure.
Sure, same. Yeah, I think community what keeps us coming back, and I would like to see some more stuff done for community in the future, maybe, because I think community is what will get like new players to stay longer, and I feel like the free to play kind of beginning kind of sucks for them because they're often in a free to play world where no one's really talking and stuff like that. I think that could possibly use work because that's the most important part of RuneScape for me personally.
Yeah, and there's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes as well with the first time user experience. Like we have entire teams dedicated to literally just trying to improve that first, not even like 10 hours, but like the first 2 or 3 minutes of when you're first in the game, right? So that you just see what are the possible reasons that players could be dropping out, and sort of seeing how can we improve that to try and get people to stick around for longer, so that we can actually get them into seeing what the best parts of RuneScape are. Because yeah, beneath the surface, it could be a difficult game to learn. There's a steep learning curve, right? It's a sandbox MMO, but beneath that, like it's an amazing game behind it, right? With the humor as well that's there, that very RuneScapey humor.
For sure.
There's a lot to enjoy, and there's a lot to get your teeth stuck into. But yeah, we're trying to figure out what are the things that are blocking players from getting to that point in the first place.
Gotcha. So we're gonna have some quick fire questions just to loosen them up a little bit before we start using our real game on them. So, moderator and Mod Shogun, you can answer this as whatever you like. Okay, what is your favorite skill on RuneScape?
Dungeoneering.
Dungeoneering here as well.
Sorry, I asked your favorite skill, not minigame.
Hence why Dungeoneering.
Dungeoneering wins it for me. It may not have quite stood the test of time, I think. Like if you look at it now compared to when it was first launched.
Yeah.
But from like that initial few years, it's Dungeoneering every time.
Definitely same here.
I completely get that because doing it with like a group of friends is like really, really enjoyable, but I'm not the biggest fan of like solo dungeon on my Iron Man and stuff. I find Dungeoneering really, really tiresome if you're doing it on your own, but when you have like a good atmosphere and stuff, I think it's great. I don't know whether you guys are the same.
Solo is the solo gameplay of it is very different, and we've tried to do things over the years to maybe make it a little bit more enticing. But so the amount of people that I met on Dungeoneering launch way back when, and like those friendships and stuff that you form, like there's nothing that's competed with that since.
And this is exactly the same for me. Like I still talk regularly to people I did Dungeoneering with back in the days in my low Dungeoneering level days.
Interesting.
I completely agree with that. I don't, I know a lot of people that don't like it nowadays. I think it's just because they came in like post-release with EOC already changing it quite a lot and stuff, and then trying to do it on their own, and it's not fun for them. So I can get that.
Maikeru, what's your favorite skill? I don't know if I've asked.
Slayer.
Fair enough. Mine's Herblore, and I don't know.
Interesting.
Ooh, that's an interesting one. Why Herblore?
Well, I think it was when I played Iron Man. I played Iron Man a lot, and making your own potions and like getting 99 Herblore, that was the most satisfying thing. I don't know why, but yeah.
I can appreciate that. The amount of, especially on an Iron Man, the amount of time that it would take to get everything you need to do at 99 for it is that's quite a big payoff at the end of it.
Yeah, and like having your own overloads from scratch, and it was just it was a really good feeling. Yep, good answer to the first question.
Do you like Herblore as a skill, or is it the rewards that you like?
I just find it satisfying. It's like it's quite quick. It's like fast paced. The rewards are good. I even enjoyed it on old school when I played it because I don't know. It's like you stock up, you pay for it, and you get rewarded for it.
Yeah, okay.
I like the output. Like making something useful, and the fact it's untradeable. I really like that because like maybe now it's come to a point where things like extremes and adrenaline potions maybe should be tradable, but I really love the fact that like you work hard for it and then you actually get like a tangible thing that you can take everywhere you go, pretty much.
Oh yeah, I completely get that. Then yeah, it's one of the rare skills that gives you an untradeable that is beneficial to your account.
Yeah, and that comes up actually quite a lot, and behind the scenes of like trying to think of like what is the overload of this skill, the overload of that skill. Like overloads are the purpose, or it used to always be. Obviously, we've got better and stronger potions now, but it always used to be the purpose of why you trained Herblore. And other skills maybe didn't always have that. Like Firemaker, for instance, right? Is just always you could just buy your way through the whole thing, and there was never really any reason for doing it. And the amount, yeah, we have had a lot of conversations over the years of like what could be the overload of this skill, the overload of that skill.
So the incense sticks are like the overload of fire making.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, stuff like that is really, really beneficial to artisan skills for sure.
I feel it. I feel it. I've got a quick fire round ready for you guys. Okay, so whenever you're ready, first thing that comes to mind, and you can elaborate on it if you want to. Okay. We've already asked the favorite skills, so here we go. What is your favorite boss in RuneScape?
Probably, I mean, I'm gonna be like old school and say Bandos here. Like that was the one where that's the one where I have the most memories of back in the day. It was the first boss I ever killed. You got a lot of memories associated with it, and also I'm a very, very, very amateur at combat.
Really? Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
My first memories of bossing was of Kingback Dragon going as a team of 4 people, and this is a very early game when Dragon medium helmets were like 2 million a pop, the good old days, and Caliphate Queen was quite popular as well then. But most fondest memory from boss is Dragon of Kings, and the elevation of them when you had to pick an entire team to kill them. Most enjoyable boss though has to be Solak.
Oh, okay.
You just said Raga wrong. Sorry. That was
I didn't know.
Yours, Rav.
my favorite boss.
What's the point asking?
It's Raga, dude. It's Raga.
Okay.
Who are you?
Yaka's mine personally.
Yeah, I love Yakamaru, dude. I think if it wasn't a big issue to get a group of 10 people together, it would be like the perfect boss. It would be the perfect boss. I love it. Or if you're Lucario, you just solo it anyway, right? It doesn't matter.
Yeah, he just solos anything though. He's doing AOD now.
Cats or dogs?
At the moment, dogs.
Good answer.
Dog, definitely dog. German Shepherds.
Hell yeah. I'm so proud of these guys.
Yeah.
Both the other JMods did so as well, so I'm very happy.
I done a poll recently on my stream, cats or dogs, and dogs won by like it was like 70% to 30%. So dogs are clearly superior anyway.
Yeah.
It hurt me to say it as well. I grew up with cats, but I've currently got a dog. It's very difficult to say dogs, but yeah, he's much more affectionate than the cats everywhere.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I love dogs.
The only reason you'd get a cat is if you couldn't really like house a dog. I mean, it's just like a B-Tech dog, right? I'm gonna trigger so many
Yeah, there's
people.
gonna be so many comments now just raging at you. My cat is a house cat and he's adorable and he gives me loads of affection, etc.
Yeah, brilliant. Okay, what does a giraffe sound like?
Cool.
It's such a weird animal. Does it make noises?
I've never heard a giraffe in my life.
Does it make noises?
Okay, what do you imagine? What do you imagine it sounds like?
Well, see, have you heard the song "What Does the Fox Say"? It's pretty much like that.
But what does that sound like, Ken? Shogun?
I can't remember the lyrics, man.
What the? I literally just clicked the YouTube video. And it sounds like goat.
Wah, pa, 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 pow. There we go.
I like it. I like it. There we go. That's what we want to hear.
Hatty, 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 heard. Ring, ding, ding, dinger, ding.
Okay, this is what I think it sounds like. Okay.
I can see that if it was like eating something from a tree or something.
Yeah, well,
I just looked at it on YouTube and it sounded a bit like a goat where it's like "Arr," or something. Yeah, kind of like that. There you go. I'll play a sound of the actual podcast and it will overlap for everyone so they can relate to it. There you go. We're good.
Next question. What body part would you not mind losing?
Nipples.
Do you class that as a body part though? Is it really a body part?
I mean, it's not like a boner or anything, right?
You were so quick to say that answer.
It's like you
Come on,
have
think about it.
Man's been thinking about this for a while.
It's quick fire. I gave a quick fire answer.
we don't need to, do we? But
Like now that you think about it, as a male JMod, that would be the most beneficial for you to
Right.
nothing happens if he goes away. So yeah, definitely, I'm gonna agree with the Erator here.
Yeah,
His
fair.
logic is infallible in that regard.
Yeah, no, I completely understand. Yeah.
who is the funniest JMod?
Oh lord.
I think it might actually just be Mod Parish, maybe. I think is the name. Also, with Ramen, I have like so many funny conversations with Ramen. We go to like Costco and stuff sometimes, and we just crack on up the whole way pretty much.
So there is a famous part that Ramen started at Jagex called the Friday question. It is one of the best things ever when they do happen. So I'll give it to Ramen and his Friday questions when they do happen.
Does he just come up to you and ask you a question?
No, we have we Slack at work. He's writes this very elaborate story, and then he has the weirdest twist at the end, and you have to pick between two things.
Right.
And yeah, they are quite humorous. And then the people will start discussing the reasonings why they picked said things to make it even better.
All right, cool. I when I visited Jagex, Ramen was pretty funny. I can see that.
Nah, dude, Mod Breezy's the funniest JMod.
Yeah, Breezy's 10 out of 10. I mean, all the JMods are lovely.
Yeah, lovely. Yeah, but in terms of humor, I think Drunk Breezy is very funny.
Yeah, fair.
I'm trying to find an appropriate Friday question, but there doesn't seem to be any.
There is none. There ain't none.
So this one's apparently a collaborative effort. It's a gloomy autumn day. The leaves are crunching beneath your feet as you trudge towards your favourite shop, the fabled Audi. You're rather excited this time as you're bopping to your favourite tunes and you're thinking about picking up some Audi brand baked beans to go with your minute steak. All of a sudden you trip, but a hand catches you before your nose smashes into the concrete. As you look up, you see him. You've not seen him in years. It's the mysterious hooded man. As I have saved your precious nose, I offer you two choices. You will either urinate semen for the rest of your life, or you will ejaculate urine for the rest of your life. Choose wisely. And in a puff of smoke, he vanishes, leaving nothing behind but a cloud of smoke and a can of Audi brand baked beans.
At least he left the baked beans.
Yep.
That was the last one. I mean, that was a while ago, I think.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it was a while ago.
That is a hard question as well.
Yeah.
What did you guys end up answering on the question?
I mean, there was a long conversation about it. I'm going to be honest. Like,
Yep.
I don't think I was I don't think I got involved in this one.
Fair.
But you surely thought about it. Come on, give us your thoughts.
I don't know. On the spot, it's a hard one to think of, right? I'd probably rather ejaculate urine.
Yeah.
But I think I still then urine. Too,
I
right?
think I'd go with that.
Yeah, I think so too. I really enjoyed that more than I should have, to be honest. Right, next question. What is a favorite piece of work you have done?
The thing that I'm most proud of releasing was probably Big Game Hunter.
Mhm.
I would say archaeology, but I wasn't there from the beginning, so I didn't have much of a design input on it. But Big Game Hunter from like start to finish was my baby.
A lot of people are happy with you for that one. Big Game Hunter's like so awesome. I know this is like a question that you might not be able to answer, but is there plans or ideas or like does it come across that you're gonna think about doing other skilling bosses?
I mean, things are always thrown around. Like skilling boss comes up all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also difficult to call something a skilling boss as well because like everyone has a different expectation of what skilling boss means.
Right.
Right.
It's half the reason why we didn't call Big Game Hunter like a skilling boss. We didn't market it as a skilling boss because like one person's interpretation of a skilling boss versus another is like so completely different. So it was just released as Big Game Hunter, and then some people made the correlation of like, oh, this is like a kind of like a skilling boss in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the 2021 stuff's going on at the moment, all the planning and whatnot. I'm not 100% sure of what's on that roadmap at the moment. I get less visibility on it now on Ninja anyway. So watch the space, I would say.
That sounds good. Yeah, I know it's not something that you guys can really answer, but you just saying like those ideas are tossed around still is cool because I think those type of stuff are really, really enjoyable. And it doesn't have to be, you know, the best XP or the best money, just like a mixture of both and enjoyable. People are going to do it, you know?
Yeah, like I always wanted to do like a Big Game Hunter challenge mode. Like I did it, I asked if I could bring something to RuneFest. You know, like when they did I think it was 6 Jads one year, old school. Like it would be very quick to get like a 6 dinosaur path going. We'd have to go like 6 down to 5, down to 4, down to 3, down to 2, down to 1.
Yeah, that'd be sick.
Like that is possible, and it would be quick to do. But it's a case of I don't know if it would make sense for the live game as such versus just like a throwaway challenge mode at like a Runefest or something.
Yeah, that'd be really, really fun. Could technically or potentially do something like that with like a seasonal high score who can kill the most or whatever, and have it go up to like a high amount.
Yeah. So I mean, Shawnee, when he was here, right, he did the clan cut.
Yeah.
And that had a big focus on Big Game Hunter as well. Which, at the time, I don't think we really thought about doing something like that. It was more about within Big Game itself, as it was. But yeah, maybe it's something that could be revisited in the future as a seasonal thing.
Because I feel like it doesn't have to be a big update or anything for people to enjoy and have fun with. Just saying, like, seasonal high scores are always mentioned. Things like that people love. Anyway, Shogun, your most favorite.
So is there a difference between what I developed or what I was part of as a QA as well, or?
You could do both.
Okay. So as QA, I have to say it was mining smithing by far. It was such a large project. I was part of it from the start, and I was the player voice, so to say, during the entire development in that project.
Yeah.
So that was probably my most favorite one to QA. For developer-wise, Daily Challenge rework was quite enjoyable. It turned out quite good as well. I'm quite happy with it.
It got me playing again for a while too. Doing the daily challenges once they were a bit more generic and a bit simpler to do, quicker to do, and more streamlined.
Yeah, it's definitely a good one because then like all dailies feel rewarding instead of like only like 2 being rewarding. It's definitely much nicer now for sure. And then like the actual challenges you receive are much nicer.
I'm just I'm slightly happy that I managed to slightly nerf dungeoneering as well. That felt a bit nice. It was needed.
Yeah, 100%.
In my point of view.
Yeah.
What is your favorite content to watch?
RuneScape?
Sorry, within RuneScape, within RS3, yeah.
I mean, at the time, I really enjoyed the archaeology race. I watched a ton of that. Obviously, there's not really much of a race anymore, so it's difficult to say that at the moment. But yeah, I really enjoyed the archaeology race. I was watching a lot of people. I had a lot of time on Maikeru himself, the man, the myth, the legend. I spent a lot of time watching that. For
me, it's partly a race as well. It's when a new boss gets released. It's always fun to see how the players think of the strategies on how to actually beat the boss. It's like with Solak. You started off for the first ever kill. Everyone was bringing a Pac-Man and Mammoth full of food and just brews everywhere. And now you just bring 2 pieces of food and 1 brew and that's it. And then you have 20 pieces of armor and you swap between. Like the evolution of that is really fun to see.
Watching the first kill for Solak was also really cool. Like, it took 18 hours or something?
Yeah.
No. It was longer than 24 hours. It was longer than 24 hours.
Oh, okay. It was soloed in under 24 hours and Ramen was going to sell his party house, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was AOD.
Oh, yeah.
If AOD was soloed in 24 hours, he was going to high-alk his party hat, he said.
He's going to alk it, right? Yeah.
Yeah, so that kind of leads me on to the next question. Mike, I'll ask you this one as well. In terms of, when you release a piece of content, it's sometimes done the way you imagine it's done. Other times, it's like people take really innovative approaches to it. What has surprised you the most in the way players tackle something? Like, give an example.
I don't know if I can give a specific example, but I would say as a general thing, we find that a lot of the times, like, players go above and beyond any expectation we ever had of, one, how they would play the content, and two, like how quickly, or how, like, with its XP rates, like the XP rates they would gain from something, like would spend so much time balancing something, and then they'll find like a way of just getting like 20% extra on top of that. And it's like, oh, okay, we did, like, how on earth has this happened? Did this happen? Like, what rate are they doing? And figuring out what method it is that they're doing and stuff. You're like, oh, okay, like that's crazy. Like how they even thought about doing that in the first place. Like it is something it's always difficult to judge, because also if you end up balancing something for only the elite top end, then it's going to feel really bad as well for anybody else that tries to play it, right?
It's a nice tug of war to get at, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, XP rate is always equally fun. Solak, it has to be still the best one. The way people handled the last phase in Solak, is nowhere what we intended for the fight how to go. Like the first iteration was sending one person to just tank every single shade while they quickly kill it off. From what we expect out of it to what happens is always going to change a lot. Take like was it heal other on Yakamaru on release? That wasn't expected, for example.
Yeah.
You have one guy casting barricade on cooldown and you casting heal other.
Right, gotcha. Yep, fair enough. I like that players are actually kind of encouraged to innovate sometimes because that's the fun part of the game, right? Like to find new methods to do things differently, see what works, see what doesn't. I feel like that exploration is a key enjoyment a lot of people have for RuneScape. Now, I will be quite truthful when I say like I feel there hasn't been enough of that since archaeology because obviously when archaeology released there was so much to explore. But yeah, that's something I'm looking forward to do when like new updates come out. Is to
COVID happened, I remember.
yeah, of course. There is, but yeah, like that's one area of RuneScape which I feel like so many people enjoy.
It's a hard thing since that those types of content normally require a lot of work and preparation beforehand. So they are a lot harder to just continuously generate those kind of content.
Sure, yeah, absolutely. Big releases, right?
Yeah.
Fair enough. And something which I found people have started doing is, I think one of the other JMods mentioned it, is like how the ECB is used is just nuts. Like people, I didn't think when I first heard of the weapon, like people would be able to do what they're doing with it. But like, yeah, people are just pushing limits and finding innovative ways to do things and getting mad record times with stuff like that.
When it comes to combat, for me, it's the way people do the one tick kills on like bosses. I saw a balance when you stall a hurricane, you then equip your granite maul, and then you spec twice with a basic attack, and then you hope to God those 5 hits in one tick are enough to one shot the boss.
Yeah, for sure. That is, shows some real innovation for people to think this stuff through and stuff
Yeah.
like that.
And it's like when Pup done his world record Magister, he would quickly swap to a dummy and cue the Tusker's Wrath on the dummy so it doesn't get the 2-minute cooldown. So when he swaps to fight the Magister, you'll get your 15k hit, but then it won't have the 2-minute cooldown. So then he can get like 2 out in the time that it would take to kill. So like stuff like that are just so cool to see, right? Because you don't expect it, right?
People have been studying the combat system for science now. The understanding that some people have of it is just ridiculous. Things which weren't, like for example, like things like concentrated blast and stuff, people have figured out. Well, I mean, it's very easy to say this now because it's well known, but like you cancel it early and things like that. That's pretty basic stuff. But with stalling abilities, like crazy barge rotations with like natural instinct and stuff, it's wacky. What's really like kind of I find interesting is that it just shows that when people apply themselves to something that they actually really enjoy, they can do some crazy things. But if they don't enjoy something, then they're not going to bother with it. Like if these people, like I'm sure a lot of these people, for example, weren't if they didn't like something like skilling, they just wouldn't touch it. But because they enjoy this piece of content, they will really do learn everything they can about it.
100%, and that makes it more fun for them as well, right? To see if they can get that slightly quicker kill, whatever it is, right? That is their enjoyment in the game, and that's fine.
For sure. Right. Okay. I'm going to ask you one cheeky question. You don't have to answer it, Mikey. One cheeky question. Only one question. One cheeky question. Right. My question is, when will the EOF recolors come?
Just going to chuck this in post edit. Mod Shogun tried to look about the essence of finality and whether the dyed versions and stuff are coming out so you can recolor them for your presets, etc. He didn't find it until after the podcast, but he did let me know that it will be coming soon. So no date, but soon. So everyone who wants to have a dyed EOF and such, expect that coming out sometime soon TM. Okay, back to the podcast.
Okay. Right. Well, that's the thing which that's my one cheeky question. I won't ask any other cheeky questions. If Maikeru has one,
I don't even know. My cheeky question already got answered by Breezy. He joined my stream and I was doing clues, and then I was in like a little rant about the reroll tokens being the wrong colors for easies and mediums. So like the easy reroll token was brown, and the medium reroll token was like a white, which is the opposite colors to the caskets. So now in the most recent clue update, one of the things that was changed was the colors of the reroll tokens, and that was my boy Breezy because I ranted at him. So I feel like I've already used up my cheeky question.
We solved it as well.
Name one thing you're working on. It doesn't have to be any. You don't have to be specific. You can just say something, maybe skilling or something like PVM. I don't know. Whatever you feel comfortable sharing.
I mean, I put out a Reddit post. Christ, it was quite a few months ago now, about GE buy limits, because we were very aware that various items, quite a few actually, based on the Reddit post, are not quite the best in terms of either mass buying, either they've got buy limits that are way too high, which doesn't make any sense, so they're getting bought out and price manipulated it, or they're way too low, and you just can't buy them to like maintain your skilling or combat or whatever it is that you're doing. But say it's a very big project in terms of I don't get much time to work on it, and I need to like validate every single thing that every single suggestion that players have given to make sure that like the reasons that they've said for why the buy limit is off makes sense. So if it's because you're skilling like way too fast and you use the entire 4-hour buy limit in like 10 minutes, then I need to make sure that that's actually true before doing anything about it. So yeah, that's something that I have been working on for a while. But
Power bursts should be on that list, I hope.
Yep.
Oh,
Power burst what?
all power bursts are like what 100 buy limit.
Yeah,
Crazy.
Well, Von bombs are like a big issue because you can only buy 100 Von bombs per 4 hours, I think, and people use
bombs and power burst are on there, and like primal fruit as well, I think is on 100. The pulp is on 100. So yeah, there's a lot of things like that that are, so basically if it's 100, that's our default. If we don't specify a specific number, it goes to 100. So sometimes it's like it just gets forgotten about to think about it. So then it goes live with the default, which ends up being 100, which sometimes works out well and sometimes it doesn't work out well at all, right? So yeah, that's something I've been working on.
That's a cool thing to know, though. That it like defaults at 100. That's pretty neat.
Yeah, I've got no release date on it though, right? So it could be another 6 months to a year. You never know. It could be.
Oh yeah. But at least you're working on it. It's something.
Yeah, it's a problem that I'm aware of, and it's something that I want to try and solve.
Well, that was some nice insight into that. Mr. Shogun, I know that you're kind of in limbo, but can you give us any hint on something?
Yeah. I'm my next job skilled in for me is a drop table. That's all I'm gonna say.
Is it a rework or something coming into the game?
That's spoilers.
Drop table. Time to get my thinking hat on.
Give us a little bit.
Nah. That's enough suspense for you right there. Let's give it lots of stone spirits. Lots of stone spirits.
A boss that only drops stone spirits? Confirmed.
Dude,
thank you.
The skilling boss. That would be a great skilling boss, dude. All the stone spirits on the skilling mining boss. There you go.
A rock man.
Rock, yeah. Maybe just change Virago. Just give it Virago's little brother. Bro Rago. Skilling boss. Everyone comes in with a pickaxe and then they do it. Everyone drop stone spirits and then replace stone spirits on all PVM boss tables.
Oh, I knew it. You had to get in somewhere, didn't you? That one sentence. Replace all stone spirits.
But I feel like the market is perfect nowadays with stone spirits. Like when it was first released, it sucked, but now that I feel like it's just all balanced around that now. Like when there's a stone spirit drop, yeah, it's not worth that much money, but literally every big ticket item at like every boss is worth more than it used to be because to like correlate for that. And like you still make tons of money. Like so many people complain about stone spirits like Goals Dungeon 2. You make like what 5 mil consistent an hour anyway. Like, do you really need more than that? I don't think they're that much of an issue.
So,
I mean, I guess it sucks at certain bosses when you've like high enraged Telos or something, but you replace the stone spirits with slightly better ones now.
Yeah,
right?
we did that.
Yeah. So we've done 2 batches of them. When we first released stone spirits, I did a lot of like checking up bosses and slayer monsters and how it would affect their like average DP power. It barely touches it. There's certain bosses like QBD was badly hit by it,
Yeah.
but I think that was the only one that was really badly hit by Stone Spirit Change. The rest of the bosses barely moved in like average GP power, and then next actually went up in GP power from the minus smithing update due to how profitable we made with Torva armor. But people disregard that, obviously, since they see I got 1 drop. This drop is worth 5 GP. I'm sad.
Yeah.
They don't care that if they kill her 9 more times, they will make 15 million profit. That doesn't matter to them. Just this 1 drop has to give me money, or I'm gonna be sad.
That's what I kind of like tried to explain to everyone. I remember making a video on it, showcasing the GP rates now and that they really aren't that bad. But like, I had a lot of replies that said like it's not about wanting money every single kill, but it's about like that demotivation where they see a low drop, which I can somewhat understand. But when you're playing a game like RuneScape, it's like heavily RNG based. You can't get something good every time. Like you can't get that wow factor. That wow factor is a wow factor for a reason. It should happen rarely. So I guess I could kind of see it from their viewpoint as well when they're like getting sad seeing something poopy, but part of the game really.
Yep, fair enough. Completely see it that way. And a slightly side question: who's the best PVMer in amongst all the JMods?
Not me. Shogun will know better than us.
So Iago is really good. Probably go Iago, to be honest.
But they're the same sort of like core bunch of people that whenever there's a new boss in development, right? You guys are the guys that will play test it.
Yes.
And do that. There's a decent group of you as well that do that.
It's a bunch of us. So yeah. As you probably heard of the Combat Council, it's a mix of people that both know the combat system and are proficient in the actual combat gameplay. So that's why we all collect.
Right.
And Iago is one of them.
Just a like slight tangent here. Would it ever be the case that you guys involve players on like the councils that you have? Because I know that you guys have a balancing council. I think do you have an Iron Man council?
We have Iron Man people. It's basically 2 people that we go for like Iron Man discussions. Ramen and Easty.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So we have like let's say the skilling, lore, combat, UX councils. But I mean, we did the player advocacy group.
Yeah.
That was probably about 4 or 5 months ago now. And yeah, we had obviously the RS guy and a bunch of other players that came in and helped. That was largely with the Ninja team that time around. That's not something that I don't have any insight on what that process is, so I don't know if that's something that's planned to be run again. But I think that's probably the closest thing that we've had to that. And generally, it's a case of if there was another one to happen, then it would be like specifically for a like given purpose. Maybe it is combat, maybe it is lore, maybe it is something else. But we've had play tests and stuff as well. Like we bring players down to play content. Like I remember, I think Maikeru, you've come down before, right? And
with Rav, yeah.
I think you maybe played Big Game Hunter when it was Solak and placeholder cubes stomping around the place. So we've had we've definitely had play tests on things before to see how content is, how does it feel. Difficult to do that now, obviously, when we're all working remotely. We can't have people coming into the office anymore. We're not even in the office. So I'd say that's definitely had to be put to one side for that reason. We don't really have like remote play testing tools available to us as far as I'm aware. But yeah, we enjoy working with the players. So we're vocal as well on socials and stuff. I think any way that we can work better with the players is never going to be a bad thing. And we've had the dojo as well. Let's not forget the dojo. The players.
When it comes to like you as the Ninja team, you have the dojo where you take the suggestions and you may act on them, etc. As you've developed a decent amount of ninja strikes now, do you know like a proportion to how many came from the dojo?
Somebody might be able to figure it out. And it's also difficult because sometimes like we have ideas and then they also happen to be on the dojo, right? There's a lot of crossover.
Do you have like just a random estimate on like how much it helps, or like does it help a lot kind of thing?
So we were definitely overwhelmed with it. I think there was something like 10,000. Obviously, we had to shut it down, right? Like that was shut down. It's probably been shut down for about a month and a half, maybe 2 months now.
Yeah.
And I think there was like 10,000 suggestions or something like that on that. And our product owner, Mod Kalea, has I think come through like 9,000 or so now. So getting there, catching up. But because the developers and stuff, myself and Shogun and the other developers, we don't really see what comes in on a dojo. We just get
Right.
So sort of Kalea is the person who's in charge of like the work that the ninja team do. So it's part of her job to go through the dojo and do the research and looking on other social channels as well to see like what are the big issues right now and giving us the work and forming the strikes based off of that. So it's difficult for the devs don't really get much of an insight on that.
Mhm.
Like, we'll see things before we work on a strike. Like we'll be like, hey, this is the plan for this strike. What do you guys think? But we have no idea where those ideas have sort of come from, right?
It's good that it's helpful in general, though.
Yeah.
So
It's definitely.
once it reopens, it will incentivize people possibly to continue to give that feedback.
Yeah, we definitely value it.
Mm.
100% value it. And like the thing we've been surprised about as well is how little like spam has gone into there.
Right.
From the last number that I think I remember was like 2% of all submissions was actually like spam, which is actually surprisingly low. Like,
yeah, it's really, really
you
good.
know, there'd be people who just like copy paste the same thing in 10 times, or just like want to, I don't know, get their opinion about Jagex or the game or whatever it is out and using that as a channel because
Yeah.
it's another way of getting someone to see it, right? But it just didn't happen, which is really good.
Fair enough. That was a very good answer. What would you add to RS3 if you had a choice, but there was no restrictions whatsoever? No red tape, no white tape, no tape at all. Just tapeless, completely tapeless. What would you do?
Mine's a bit like controversial since this was running a poll a while back, and it didn't win. But I was quite a bigger fan of it, which was prestiging. I really enjoyed that system.
Mm. Right.
Maikeru's ears have
Mm.
For me, it had potential, so
This is with skills.
everyone could still compete on the leaderboards, right? It wouldn't stop at 200 million. It could go on and on and on. So,
But that's also somewhat of an issue because you want the game to end, right? I know it would be a separate high scores after you prestige, like you have the normal high scores and the prestige high scores.
like the concept of it is what I like. Maybe not the exact details in the poll.
Yeah, okay.
But the actual concept of that being able to do it.
I personally like that there's like an end, and the end takes so long anyway. But I could see people who want to grind a bit further or grind their favorite skill further. Not necessarily every single skill, right?
Precisely, it could be that
Yeah.
one guy that does Slayer. He's does Slayer.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Interesting one. I know people have like really strong opinions on that. But I like the idea of giving people who've already like completed the game something else to enjoy, right? That's why I think like, for example, boss collection logs were really cool because even though you might have killed that boss 1,000 times, now you have some other reason to go for it, even though it's like purely cosmetic. I think like cosmetic rewards like that to show your achievement, they're not necessarily a bad thing, but they're very carefully implemented, right? Because if you do make a high scores of that, then it just goes on forever and ever. And yeah, I feel that might be a bit unhealthy, but yeah, I definitely see that side of it.
So Mr. Erator, yeah.
So I think there would be two. One, if I wanted to just satisfy my OCD, would be to just fix up a bunch of interfaces like alignment and stuff and make things pixel perfect, and that would make me happy and sleep at night. But that's boring. Like the big thing, if there was like no time restriction or anything like that, and it could be done. Something that I thought about before was like I'd really love to see like what would a Mario Maker crossover with bossing look like, and by that I mean like you'd have players that could come in. Oh, we're aware of like power creep and stuff that that's in the game, right? Like we've added a lot recently, and there's not necessarily new challenges and stuff that have come along with it.
Mm-hmm.
So this is like a way of players creating challenges within the game. So it would be like, I want you to fight. I don't know. You create your own wave stuff, right? Like I want wave 1 to be Araxi, but I want it to be at like 300%, and then after that, as soon as you've killed that, I want you to go on to fight like 200 enraged Telos, and then after that, I want you to go and do like a wave of like 200 skeletons that are like level 200 or something, whatever, and it's all like on that same inventory. So you bring your supplies for like one run, and you see can you complete that challenge. And yeah, seeing because I know that from playing Mario Maker, like some of the creations and stuff that people come up with is incredible. And I'm sure that there'll be some like insane challenges that players would be able to come up with that would like satisfy that power creep, where only like the top elite people would be able to do it. And obviously it has to come with a whole bunch of other stuff. But yeah, it would be a very expensive thing to make.
Yeah. Something which is like a bit similar is not complete, well, a bit different, which I think is kind of a cool idea. Is would it ever be the case that you guys would consider like removing the enrage caps of all the bosses which have enraged, so Telos and Araxor, but just don't increase the drop rate or anything, just to see how far players can go? Because I know it kind of ties into both of what you're saying, because Shogun wants people to be able to continue after even they've completed it, right? So I think that will just make it entertaining content for people to watch.
Yeah, it
I
would
think
be.
it'd be interesting. I don't know if the back end of the bosses would handle it. Like it would have to be some work done to fix them. I'd say I don't know if technically Telos would work if it went to like 4001%, right? Depends how it's developed. But also like you could just spread that out to other bosses as well that don't have an enrage system right now. Like what would a 4000% Yakko look like?
Wow, yeah.
Could anybody do that? Could a 10-man team turn up and do that?
Yeah, that would be just so much fun to do. It wouldn't even need to necessarily give rewards, right?
It's something that adds a challenge and hopefully helps a lot with say that power creep issue that we're seeing at the moment. But we're also obviously got projects going on that have been alluded to in streams and stuff that will hopefully help with that too.
Awesome. And something else you mentioned interfaces. Like I love my interface at the moment. One thing which I think a lot of people ask for is that when people see my interface, they're like, can you show me how to make that interface? Would interface sharing like ever be a thing? Like, for example, I could send my interface to someone else and they could just use it, because that would just make life a lot easier for like new players as well.
I feel like we spoke about this at Ninja recently.
It has been talked about.
But I think like it would be way too big for a Ninja job to do.
Right.
It has been talked about. People are aware of it, and some people want it as well. So, like, it's a massive project though. So, like, if it will happen, if it's technically possible and that stuff, no one knows. But it has been spoken about at least. So, who knows?
I think one of the biggest issues is like a lot of where your interfaces are set is all on the client, so the server doesn't really know anything about it. Which is why if you open up like 2 instances of the game, right, you've got your interfaces in different places.
Right.
So that alone is a challenge of how do you get something that's on your client and that the server doesn't even know about across to another player via the server. Especially when generally in software engineering, like you don't trust anything that the client really tells you, because obviously you can hack the client or whatever and inject naughty things to break the game. So it's an interesting problem, but yeah, it's definitely one that we've spoken about as a Ninja team, but it was way too big for us to take on.
Definitely something that would help that new player
Yeah,
experience
100%.
as well. Even if it's just something that's like making your default ones better.
Exactly that. Yeah, I was going to say the same.
It doesn't have to be necessarily sharing, but the ones that like you're provided with are just really bad. So if they could like go through it and just, if people like you guys play the game yourselves, you know what interfaces are kind of liked for skillers, and when you're skilling you like this type of thing, when you're bossing you like it this way. Or you could even look at, different PVMers in the game or streamers and take inspiration there and improve those.
Yeah, and say there is like an entire team at the moment on that first time user experience, as I say, with like literally looking at the first couple of minutes in the game. One of the things that say they are looking at, their particular focus at the moment is mobile, but it's like how overloaded or how quickly you given access to certain interfaces. Like, is it just all at once, or like could we stagger things a little bit better? And I think obviously that's a thing on desktop as well, right? Is like you could go too far the opposite way to what it is at the moment, right? Or if we get off Tutorial Island and there's just like interfaces everywhere, because and a player can very quickly get lost. So it's a difficult problem of like striking that balance between like we obviously are aware of how powerful it can be to move your interfaces around and to get it how you want, but sometimes maybe new players, they don't necessarily know how they want it because they don't obviously know much about the game. So I think it's a difficult one to balance out of like, we don't want them to get lost.
Yeah.
We don't really want them to worry too much either about their interface layout when they first start. Like, we'd rather them be playing the game and getting on with that. But yeah, at the same time, I don't know. I think when you get off Tutorial Island, like, you're in locked interface mode as well. So like, I don't know if there's ever a point in which you're then tutorialized after like 10 hours or something, like, hey, you by the way, you can like do all this stuff with your interfaces. So yeah, it'd be a case of figuring out like when would be the best time to onboard that. Personally, I don't think that at the very beginning is the best time, just for the reason of like there's so much going on.
Yeah, you don't want to overload them. Yes.
It's already quite an overwhelming game, right? Like you've got 20 years of content that you've just landed in. We want the players to worry about as little things as possible early on. So it could be, so maybe there is an argument of at some point introducing these features that we know are good and are beneficial. With half the settings and stuff as well, like there's some really useful settings, but if you don't look for them, you'll never find them.
Yeah.
If you don't look for them, if you know what you're looking for, it's great. But if you don't know what you're looking for, how are you meant to find it? It's very...
Yeah, even simple things like game view and stuff. It's never ever mentioned anywhere, right?
No.
But then if you have an interface that goes across the border of your screen, changing your game view so you're centered is always nice. You know, like those little things that if you know what you're looking for, it's there. But yeah, finding it first time, impossible.
Yeah. And so I mean, when I first returned to the game, which was sort of at the end of my time at uni, when I applied to get a job, like it was the thing that I struggled with was getting used to, because throughout the time that I was at uni, this interface system where you could move things around was introduced. So I'm coming in and I'm like, where the hell is everything? Like, what's going on? So yeah, there are a lot of improvements that could be made to it. I'd say there have been various improvements done for like specific interfaces. It obviously it's difficult to do sweeping changes across all interfaces in one go. Mobile is going in a good direction. Like playing the game on mobile, like things make sense and where they're placed. Obviously, that's in like a fixed layout mode as well, right? Like you can't really rearrange anything. You can set up your own ribbon to how you want it, but you can't really like move things around, resize them, or anything like that. But yeah, it's an interesting problem.
Yeah, fair.
For sure. Well, thank you for answering our questions. I'm done completely in terms of my questions.
So I guess if there's anything that you want to say in general, Moderator and Shogun, we've been bombarding you with so many different random questions, whether it be related to RuneScape, your job, whatever. Is there anything that you want to say in general that you might want to say to people or anything that might be listening?
Keep giving feedback. Like it's be it good or bad. It's always nice saying it.
How do you want the feedback, Shogun? That's something which people probably would struggle with. Like
as a ninja, I'm everywhere. Both Twitter, I'm on Twitch, I'm on Reddit. I see it almost all of it at least.
I think Twitter would probably be the best one. If they want to like message you directly, they can @ you, right? I'll leave your @ in the description and stuff.
We see stuff and then we add it to a list. It might not look like we're looking, but we are. So yeah, just keep doing that.
Things are acknowledged, but you might not necessarily know that they're acknowledged.
Yes.
Yeah, it has to be weighed up against everything else that we have going on, right? Like,
of course.
As I said, the dojo's had 10,000 requests. We can't possibly work on all of them at once.
That's a lot.
Obviously, there's a lot of duplicates and stuff like that in there as well, sure. And some of them, probably don't fit within the ninja remit or whatever. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff in there and we can't possibly work on everything at once. And it's down to Kalaya to prioritize what we work on. Hopefully the ninja team obviously is set up to try and prove that we are sort of listening to you guys, right? And that there are changes happening. And obviously there is content that is in the pipeline as well that's coming out. And you tell us when we get things wrong, also tell us when we get things right. Like it's always nice as well to see when we've done things right. It definitely feels good. But at the same time, hold us accountable if we do things wrong. We obviously don't purposely do things wrong. We don't want to do things wrong. And we generally, if we are seeing, say, backlashes and stuff, there's always a conversation that's happening about it.
So when it comes to just one last thing, the dojo for player submissions for the ninja team, will that be opening up once the ones currently have been done? So if you said they're like done 9,000 out of 10K or whatever, will it be opening up a bit after that once they're all covered?
I think that the plan, and so this is handled by the ninja team's community manager rather than, so I don't have a ton of insight on it. I think that they want to improve the process from the back end, so that like obviously still want you guys to be submitting things if and when it reopens. But we want to make it a lot. It's very time consuming, right? Like I think Kaleo would spend like 1 to 2 hours every single day, pretty much, like going through and combing through it, and that's a lot of time to be spending just looking at player suggestions, as well as obviously you've got your own job to do on top of that, right? So I think they would want to get something set up that makes it, like whether it's filters or whatever it is, that makes it a bit easier to filter through and comb through all of the suggestions that are coming in, so we can just do it a little bit more efficiently.
So when that opens back up, whenever it may be, and probably be the best way for people to give their suggestions for the ninja team. So hopefully that opens back up, and then people that are listening that might have some ideas will be able to submit it then.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so we'll push it as hard as we did the first time. Like we didn't want, when the dojo is there, we don't necessarily want players to be messaging us directly, because that dojo is the central place where it's definitely going to get eyes onto. If and when it reopens, it will definitely be pushed heavily again as like the place to put those submissions.
All right, cool.
Awesome. So the final question that we ask everyone that we take on a double date, there's only been 2 so far, but okay. Will there be a second date?
I enjoyed the date.
Sounds good to me.
I'm up for a second.
Hey, I do appreciate you guys taking time out of your day to chat, and obviously it's your free time that you're taking, so that's very kind of you guys. And I've had a good laugh. I've learned some stuff, and it's been really, really interesting. So hopefully people listening along have felt the same. Obviously applies as always if you have feedback for the podcast as such as well, not just feedback for the JMods and stuff. Feel free to comment that and everything. Always happy to hear it. But yeah, thank you so much, Erator and Shogun. I appreciate you both a hell of a lot for coming on.
Thank you.
No problem. Keep up the good work, guys.
Likewise, it's very kind of you to give your spare time. So thank you very much, and wish you all the best. And yeah, cheers.
Cheers.
All right, now we get rid of Craig Bot.
Poor Craig.